Hello boys and girls, I hope you haven't forgotten my voice. My name is Mr. Duffy and I would just like to start by saying that I really miss being your class teacher. I would like to start off also by saying well done to each and every one of you for working so hard during these very difficult times. I am extremely happy every week to see such hard work coming through on Purple Mash, Mathletics, and even through the school email. Your work has been absolutely fantastic. So, today we are going to look at nouns, verbs, adjectives, and even some adverbs. I'm sure you all recognize these words because we've done them time and time again in class. However, because they're so important and this is our first weekly lesson on grammar, I thought a perfect place to start would be with nouns, verbs, and adjectives. They are all different types of vocabulary, and the larger that we can make our vocabulary grow, then the better we will be at writing things and at reading things. So let's start with what is a noun. Now I'm sure if I was in class, everyone would have their hands up at this question, and I have no doubt that some people are screaming the answer at the screen. So what is a noun? A noun is a naming word for a person, place, or a thing. And during this presentation, I'm going to use 3 images, and you will see the same 3 images during each screen. And the first one is of a person. And it's one of my favourite people growing up. It was Homer Simpson. I always had a good laugh to Homer Simpson. So, the noun is Homer Simpson. You can call him just Homer if you would like. That is a noun. But don't forget that Simpson is also a noun. A place. Now, can anybody recognize what type of place this would be in this image? Yep, you're absolutely right. That is a park. Some people might have said forest, and it very well could have been a forest. However, because I see a park bench, I'm going to call it a park today. Now, moving on to the next image, it is a thing, and it is one of my favorite things. It is a dog, so this. Okay, so we have our first set of nouns. We've got Homer, and we have Simpson, we have park, and we have dog. Moving on, what is a verb? Yes, you're absolutely right. A verb is a doing word which describes an action. So if you're a person and you're doing something, a verb is the word which describes the thing that you're doing. So let's look at Homer Simpson once again. What is Homer Simpson doing in this photo? What things is he doing? Well, I know one thing for sure. He is driving. And if you're driving, there are other things that you would have to do. One being looking. You need to look. And looking is also a verb. It is something that he is doing. Therefore, it is a verb. Let's move on to the next picture of the park. Now, if we look closely at the picture of the park, we can see a lady. And the lady's hand is actually flicking some pages. Okay, so what would the verb be for what this lady is doing? You're absolutely correct. Once again, she is reading. Can we think of another verb? Yep, she is sitting. If you are sitting, it is something that you're doing. It is an action which you have taken. Therefore, it is a verb. Moving on to one of my favorite images, and that is the dog. What is the dog doing? Yes, you are absolutely right. He is smiling. Can anybody think of another verb? What about those ears? What verb could we use to describe what those ears are doing right now? You're absolutely right. Them ears are wagging. So there. Moving on to the next slide. What is an adjective? Adjective, boys and girls, are some of the most important words because without adjectives, we wouldn't be able to imagine all the wonderful things that we read about, all the wonderful buildings, characters, places, all those things needs loads of adjectives so that you can create a perfect picture in your mind of what they look like. Could you imagine the Harry Potter books without any adjectives? How would anyone know what Hogwarts looked like? So let's use our same three images and let's talk about what adjectives we can see in each image. An adjective is a word which describes a noun. Okay, so our first image was Homer. What word could you use, or what words could you use to describe Homer himself? Let's have a look. Yes, he is bald and cross. So while he's not cross the whole way through the image, there are times where his eyes look a little bit cross. Okay, there are other adjectives which you could come up with as well. He is yellow, for one. If you look at the car is purple. It is a dark night which he is driving in. Those are all different types of adjectives. Moving on to our second image, that is the lady who is reading in the park with her dog. And some of the adjectives here is beautiful. The park is beautiful. If someone asked you to describe the park and you used the word beautiful, would you think of an ugly park? No, no, no. You would think of a park which has lovely trees, which has lovely flowers. That one word is such a powerful adjective. And tall. That lady looks quite tall. Now, if you can't imagine what the lady would look like when she stands up, then I'm sure you can imagine that that is a very tall dog. So tall is another adjective. And what is the opposite to tall? That would be short. Another adjective. And here's my favorite dog who's smiling and wagging his ears. He is white. White is an adjective because it describes what he looks like. If you could imagine someone saying to you, I've lost my dog, the first thing you would say is, what does he look like? And if it is this dog, your first word to come out of your mouth is going to be white, because he is white, and that describes what this dog looks like. Another adjective is happy. Happy is a perfectly good adjective which you could use to describe anybody. Now, moving on to adverbs. What is an adverb? I always describe an adverb as a word which adds to a verb. Okay, you can describe an adverb as a word which helps to describe a verb. So, looking at our same three pictures again, we have Homer, and the verb here was driving. Can we think of a word which helps describe how Homer is driving? Yep, you're correct. He's driving slowly. If he was driving fast, we could see all the things moving past him quite fast. However, they look to be moving quite slowly. So I would say that Homer is driving slowly. You could also use a word like carefully or quickly. Those are both very effective adverbs which would help to describe how Homer is driving. Moving on to our next image. This lady is sitting. Now, what word could you describe how the lady or even the dog is sitting? Are they making a lot of noise, or are they sitting quietly? Yes, they're sitting quietly. Another very effective adverb. And our third image, the dog who is wagging his ears. Can you think of a word which would help you to describe the verb which is wagging? Quickly. Those ears are wagging quickly. Quickly is a very, very common adverb. If someone is running and you wanted to describe how they were running, you could say quickly. So, here are some examples of nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Our nouns column is in green, our verbs column is in purple, our adjectives column is in red, and our adverbs column has been left in black. Looking at nouns, we have Patrick, which could be the name of a person. School, that's the name of a place we go to. Ballykelly, that's the name of our village. Park, that's another place that we can go to have fun. Shop, that's where we can go to buy things. River, we could go to the river to fish. And table, that's the name of the thing which we write on. In the verbs column, we have running, kicking, reading, sitting, walking, looking, and drawing. Those are all words which describe our actions, things that we do. In the adjectives column, we have tall, short, beautiful, white, smelly, broke, and round. These are all words which could be used to describe people, places, and things. In our adverbs column, we have wildly, fast, politely, calmly, quickly, nervously, and patiently. These are all words which can help to describe our verbs, which are our actions. So what I would like you to do with the knowledge which we have revised today is I would like you to get a piece of paper, a pen or a pencil, and a ruler, and I would like you to create your very own table. And at the top of the table, I would like you to write nouns, verbs, and adjectives. It should look something like this. Now, you can choose how many rows. I would like you to have at least 5 rows so that you come up with at least 5 nouns of your own, 5 verbs of your own, and 5 adjectives of your own. If you're feeling brave, you can add some extra rows. And if you're feeling extra brave, you can try and add some adverb. So you can add an extra column with some adverbs that you can think of. Now, when you've done this, your next challenge will be to write 5 sentences which contain nouns, verbs, and adjectives. Each sentence must contain at least 1 noun, 1 verb, and 1 adjective. And if you can see there at the top of the screen, nouns are in green, verbs are in purple, and adjectives are in red. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to display 3 sentences. Feel free to pause the screen for a second, read the sentences, and identify the nouns in green, the verbs in purple, and the adjectives in red. Homer was driving a purple car. If you'll notice, that sentence actually has 2 nouns. See if you can spot them. The lady was reading a large book. Another sentence with 2 nouns. The white dog was smiling. Feel free to pause the screen to have a look and identify your nouns, verbs, and adjectives. And remember, if you're feeling extra brave, you can try adding some adverbs to your sentences. And I would love to see your hard work. Please send your photos of your hard work to ballykellypsk2@gmail.com. And hopefully when the emails come rolling in, I get to look at all the work, we will find some way of putting it up on Facebook to show everybody how wonderful the people, the boys and girls are in Primary 5, Primary 6. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. And remember, keep up the hard work. I am so proud, as is Miss McDonald, of all the hard work that both boys and girls have been doing along with their parents. Thank you very much.